Hey, what is going on? Hope you are having a great day. So yeah, it's John here. Thank you for checking the video out. I had no idea what I was gonna make today's video on, but I know that I wanted to make a video. So with that being said, I'm gonna go straight into what I thought would be interesting. So what it's looking like is happening, right? Is that what we're creating throughout our society and other societies as well is this caste system type thing, right? So I wrote an article basically talking about this idea to try to see if I could explain it thoroughly enough so that somebody would be able to understand from the perspective of somebody that was starting out with some of the lowest areas within our socioeconomic strata, right? And it's also looking like we're aware of the fact that we have a specific number of people that can be allowed into a certain social strata, right? Like let's say we have 10 people, you can only allow 2 people into the highest level, you can only allow 4 people into the next level, and the rest of them are at the lowest level, right? And it would be difficult to be able to shift people from the lower level to the higher level, because the only way for us to be able to do that would be by taking money or taking whatever mediums of exchange we use in this theory, in this theoretical situation, from the people at the higher level, right? And just like I mentioned in one of the previous videos, we're also having the situation where the people that are at those higher levels also happen to be the people that are making the legislation and the policy and the laws that would be able to help out the people that are at the lower level. And it's also important to keep in mind that the majority of people, right, the majority are located on the lower end of that level. So from my perspective, it should be beneficial for the majority of us to be able to do something, for us to be able to commit to an ideal and to be able to pass that type of legislation or policy by electing the correct leaders. And I think that there's being a difficulty happening between the majority of people and the legislators and policymakers that are being able to influence which laws are put into effect, right? And I think it would be beneficial if we had an opportunity to see what laws have been passed, what policies have been passed over the last 5 to 10 years, so that the majority of the people that haven't been participating in that environment, that give them the ability to be able to be self-objective towards the direction that our society is going, can have an opportunity to see what has been actually going on, right? A lot of people don't find interest in politics just due to the fact that it's not necessarily the best means to be able to live a good life, because it's not affecting you on a daily basis, right? The majority of people also consider that what they're majority doing is just giving argument to people that might want to argue, right? That's how the news goes, the KFEB that I had mentioned yesterday. So I think that it would be really helpful for us to take a step back so that we can see it as something that would be either a deficit, it would either be hurtful, or it would be helpful. So with that being said, I also wanted to bring a few interesting statistics that I think you might like. So currently here in the United States, our budget on military, we're currently spending about 66% of all of the capital that the United States makes on the military, right? So that comes out to 783 billion for the military, 102 billion for our veterans, and jails and police add up to about $73 billion, right? So that adds up to 66%. Now, the amount that we're using for everything else that the federal government participates in is looking at 34%. So you have 102 billion for education, which is about 7%, and welfare is about 87 billion, which is about 6%. 5% goes to our health, which is about 73 billion. 3% to NASA, which is 44 billion. 3% to the environment, which is 44 billion. Infrastructure, foreign aid, international community, energy. So what I'm getting at, right, is that if we're having a situation where 66% of our the total capital is being used on some type of warfare type situation. But the majority of people are or have already agreed that war isn't necessarily the thing that we're going to be going to, because we've already moved it to an online only space. Then that does open up another 66% of area that we could contribute back into our economy in a beneficial way, to be able to help out those people that are at the lower levels of the social hierarchy, right? That's just one idea. Another idea that I was thinking about is the fact that I'm not sure if you're aware, but we have for-profit prisons, right? I'm not sure if it would be helpful, but a lot of people have seen difficulty being able to accept why we have for-profit prisons, right? Like for example, I see a conflict of interest if I have a situation where it would be financially helpful for me to be able to create a prison, possibly in a bad neighborhood, possibly in an area that hasn't had a lot of economic help or opportunities or the resources there that people would need to be able to live great lives and be productive members of society. And then another thing that I'm also seeing within those same areas that are having the majority of the for-profit prisons, you're also having those situations where people are having large amounts of like abortions, right? So it seems like there's this systemic situation going on between our police force, right, as well as the for-profit prison system, as well as the abortion clinics that are being able to influence those areas. And I think that that goes back into that idea that you have to have a certain amount of the population that's located in the third strata of the hierarchy versus the second versus the first, right? And so I think that it's a lot more systemic than we're acknowledging, and it's due to the fact that we don't necessarily get an opportunity to be able to converse with the majority of those areas that are having those kind of difficulties. The majority of time, all we do is see it on TV or we see it on social media, and it doesn't give us the necessary feeling, the incentive to be able to investigate further to figure out what's going on in these areas. And I think that it has a lot to do, like there's this part, right, in a movie called Snowpiercer, right? I'm not sure if you guys have seen that movie. It's called Snowpiercer. And they're going and they're getting some sushi, right? And then one of the characters within that movie says something about, we have to have a certain amount of people doing something like that. If you want, go ahead and check that movie out, and just remember that one part. I think that one part is really helpful. The entire movie itself is really helpful, but that one part really touched me and gave me the ability to look at it from a different perspective. But those are kind of the things that I was thinking about today. Like, what can we do to be able to shift that kind of situation where we have young people that are growing up in systems that essentially put them into those categories, right? Like a large majority of the population has the ability to be able to reach higher levels of the social strata, the economic strata, if they're given the necessary resources and the correct mentors and the right environment for them to do so. So what are we doing as individuals? What are we doing as a collective? How are we being able to influence culture and society by being able to help out those individuals? Or is it more so of a situation where the majority of the people that are at the highest levels, right, the elitist class individuals, consider it beneficial to be able to keep the majority of other people at the lower levels, because being able to bring everybody else up would have to take money out of their own pockets, like I mentioned earlier in the video. So those were a few ideas that I thought would be beneficial to be able to talk about, to see if we can maybe create a different mindset towards how we're establishing our policy and legislation. And of course, once again, thank you for checking out the video. Please do not forget, donate if you like the content. Thank you. Have a great day.